So it is inevitable now at this moment that we are going to be talking about what goes on Durham County Council quite a lot, probably even more so than any of the other reform controlled councils. But you might be asking why? Why is that the case? What makes Durham so different to, let's say, Doncaster or Nottinghamshire or Leicestershire or maybe, those two reform mayors? Bear in mind, we haven't talked about them much, but that's because they actually haven't done much yet. When they do, don't worry, we'll be talking about them. That's for sure. But when it comes to those councils, what makes those different to those other reform councils, as we've mentioned? Well, that is because on Durham County Council, they have a supermajority. And no other of these other councils do they have a supermajority. They might have either a slim majority, they might be in the minority, but have at least enough councillors to be able to push stuff through because the other parties still can't formulate enough opposition to be able to stop them or anything like that. That is the case on those other councils. But on Durham in particular, they have a supermajority. They pretty much cannot be stopped to a point where at their recent council meeting, there was, when they were sort of picking who's going to be in charge of these different, committees and things like that, there was a committee specifically that was all about scrutiny of councils and departments that, kind of important. And the other parties did put forward another candidate because the last thing you really want is a supermajority on the council that says, yeah, we're going to mark our own homework on this one. Because, of course, they ain't going to care if, let's say, a scandal pops up and they start looking at it. They won't, shall we say, be pointing their fingers at the people who are responsible, which will ultimately be, of course, them. So take note, especially for Durham, because I can already see the case of scandals happening on their clockwork and then them just going, scandals? What scandals? You can already see it path laid out. So we're going to focus today a bit more on Durham as they are now in control. And the real, of course, hard work starts now they've taken their positions. Will they last? How long before things start going wrong? And more importantly, as we've seen from some of these councils, want to push 0% council tax. How on earth are they going to pay for all those services that the council provides with 0% council tax? They're the ones that promised it. They're the ones that promised it. It can only go wrong from here, as you can very well imagine. And of course, as always, if you are a councillor and you are on one of those councils and you know that there's something is going wrong or there's some story or something you want to get out about one of these reform idiots, by all means, please do get in contact with me. I don't care if you're a Lib Dem, Labour, Green, whatever. I will gladly give you a platform to come on here and we can have a chat about what chaos is unfolding on your local council caused by these reform idiots. So with that said, thank you very much, of course, for all the support that you guys do give the channel. Please do give us a good sub, click the like button, links down below to help support the channel as well, the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, the YouTube thank you button, all that good stuff helps the channel grow, helps me make content as well. So as always, let's crack on then with this. So over we go to BBC News reporting this. So what's your first priority as a council? It's obviously not to have a look at social care or maybe, childcare or maybe anything else that your council might spend a lot of money on, or maybe the fact that, maybe a council isn't as financially flushed as you hope. more on that later. Oh boy, more on that later. No, priority number one, get rid of the flags and get rid of any reference to climate change whatsoever. Yes, it looks like the great Durham experiment by Reform UK has now begun. And if you do live in that area, you have my condolences, because you are going to be the guinea pig for Reform UK and a lot of their crazy stuff going forward. So you have my sympathies. Take a lot more interest, if you live in that area, in local politics more than you did, because it is going to matter a lot. So, Reform UK have now officially taken over Durham County Council, renaming several key departments to remove references now to climate change, equality, and inclusion. The party, which has over 65 councillors, swept to victory in the local elections to gain an overall majority, which is why we are going to be talking about them quite a lot. They've got 65 councillors. It's pretty much a super majority. The other councils, maybe not so much. Maybe you could have some pushback, but on here, no, they have a super majority on this one. So, the new council leader, Andrew Husband, said that he had a, quote, positive discussions with the most senior non-political managers about their plans now for local authority, which is one of England's largest councils. What could possibly go wrong? This, of course, comes after Reform UK leader said that the council staff working on diversity or even climate change initiatives should now look for alternative careers, saying it may be that over the next 4 years, hopefully a lot sooner, we do look at random projects or irrelevant projects that do not fit in with our objectives, said Husband, who was officially elected as council leader in an uncontested vote. So, but what if a lot of that other stuff matters and has impacts in other areas as well? You can't just go getting rid of stuff randomly and expect things to be normal. You can't pull a Millet like in Argentina and just get rid of entire, governmental departments and expect everything to be, hunky dory. Like I say, Argentina, things aren't really going that well down there with Millet on that front. But he said, naturally, of course, he continued, if projects do start getting closed down, the resources are now less required. But I'm hoping now for more of a case of redeployment than mass firing across departments. Oh, I am sure. I can tell you now, I can assure you, the unions are going to be on your case. So much on your case. And there's already a lot of talk about the stuff as that quote earlier from Nigel Farage, that Farage could have just scuppered any chance of like any one of those people being fired, because it could come under, I think, unproductive dismissal or on something dismissal. I can't remember what it is, but it's something dismissal now it refers to. It doesn't look good for them, and I can expect probably a lot of clashes with unions, shall we say, in the future, possibly with these guys. So back to this. He said, of course, that the party would had to work with transparency and wanted to, quote, share as much information as it possibly could with the public and do things differently. Oh, I'm sure they'll be doing things differently. I'm sure they're going to be so transparent on this. Several, of course, departments and titles were, of course, renamed at an earlier meeting. The previously named neighbourhood and climate change position is now been renamed to the neighbourhoods and environment, while the equality and inclusion has now been changed to stronger communities and belonging. What? I don't even understand. Like, what was the problem calling it equality and inclusion and changing it to stronger communities and belong? I don't. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. Anyway, former, of course, council leader Amanda Hopgood, Liberal Democrat, warned that, of course, County Durham will now be the guinea pig for the experiment of reform of the Reform Party. Hopgood, who, of course, led the council as part of the coalition between 2021 and 2025, criticised the party now for making several promises it is unable to deliver while in control of a local authority, saying it is a tragedy that County Durham will now be the guinea pig for the experiment of the Reform Party, leaving one of the biggest councils in the country, she told local Democratic Reporting Service. Their statements so far do not even seem to recognize their strong local inheritance of the administration that I led for the past 4 years. Yep, like I say, they ran a campaign. Reform explicitly ran a campaign saying, we are better than all these other parties. Forget them. They're losers. As she just said, I led this council really well for the last 4 years. They've taken on and inherited a really good local area because I've led it. Now, anything that goes downhill, it's all on them. Now, I'll tell you this now. I hope Hopgood keeps on them, starts writing what's going on, starts reporting what these idiots are doing en masse. Get in your local newspaper. Start a blog, may I suggest to Amanda. Start a YouTube channel if you want to come on here and talk about any of the ludicrous stuff that they do. I will gladly allow you to come on here and you can inform us just what on earth is going on in County Durham for this. But anyway, Labour Council, of course, Rob Crute, also suggested the party will completely hit a brick wall when now attempting to set a 0% council tax increase next year and, of course, repair potholes within 24 hours of being reported. He said, I think they might find it quite uncomfortable, he said. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. So next year, they're saying no council tax increase. Good luck on that. They've also said in other areas they want to get rid of council tax completely. Good luck with that. They also said we want to lower council tax. Again, good luck with that. How are you going to pay for all those public services? Because one of the things I will tell you now, the people of Durham, or at least the people in that area in County Durham, need to be very aware of. The Tories did this a lot during austerity, is when they started to maybe look like they were getting into financial trouble, they would start to sell off public assets. And many of these Tory councils that are now very, very much in a lot of financial trouble are there because they sold off all these public assets and they got to a point where there was just nothing else to sell. You know, they'd sold the china, they'd sold the silverware. What do we do now? I think Reform might end up doing the very same thing to County Durham. Start selling off public assets like crazy because they know all their policies are costing them all this money and they're going to try and sell as much stuff as they can to claim that, oh, look, it's going well. It's going well. Why are you selling off all those public assets like crazy? Just ignore us doing that. Just look at the flags. I can say, get ready. And then this is the other thing that they did in their first meeting. So Reform's, of course, new 65 councillors also voted through new rules giving the party and its members greater autonomy over the committee and scrutiny meetings in a political move rivals have now likened to marking its own homework. Because of course, they're going to do that. Do you think Darren Grimes is going to do anything wrong? Do you think Grimesy is going to do anything wrong in his office? Perish Perish the thought. Perish the thought. Anyway, look forward to when things start going wrong here and they turn around and just go, oh, well, we found nothing wrong here. Trust me, it's going to happen. So the new deputy leader, Darren Grimes, will now combine his role with being, of course, the portfolio holder for finance, policy, and communications. So that's an even worse state. He's in charge of the finances for County Durham. I could not think of a worse person to put in charge of that. And policy as well. And he's in charge of communications. And I will tell you this now. If you are a comms officer in the county of Durham, you have my sympathies. You have my sympathies. Because now you have to take marching orders from this guy. If you put something out and he doesn't like it, oh boy. Oh boy. If you also maybe happen to, shall we say, get fired from County Durham by Darren Grimes or maybe one of these other reform people, please do also get in touch. I will gladly give you a platform to tell you why these idiots fired you and maybe what your plan is to do next to them. But back to this. John Quinn and, of course, Cathy Hart, who, of course, both defected from the Conservative Party earlier this year, also landed key roles. Again, not too surprising, Conservative Party defectors. Ferry Hills Quinn will also now head up the council's resources, investments, and assets portfolio. Again, that's probably the guy that's probably going to end up selling all of those assets. While Willington and, of course, Hilwick's Hunt will now oversee the Children and Young People Services Department. At least as far as I'm aware, they're not 19-year-olds. So, you know, maybe one-upped on Leicestershire's County Council on that one, for sure. Reform Councillor, of course, Cook Robbie Roddis, was elected now as Council Chair, describing it, of course, as a great honour. The roles which requires the occupant to be politically neutral, represent the council at community events and in, of course, neighbouring authorities and beyond. Oh, yes. Requires the occupant to be politically neutral. Gee, how well do you think this guy is going to be politically neutral? I don't think he is. I don't think he is. But that is Durham. And I think we're going to be talking about, honestly, the ongoings in Durham quite a lot over the next couple of years. Because, as I said, they've got a supermajority there. That is what separates Durham from all those other different councils. They've got a supermajority there. They can do lots of crazy stuff and get away with it. And hey, scrutiny, we're on the scrutiny committee. We have remit to say, oh, Councillor so-and-so did this. Councillor so-and-so was fine in doing that. Not surprising. Not surprising. So let me know what you think. Are you from Durham? Are you worried about this? Because I'm not going to lie, if I were from Durham, I'd be worried about this lot. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, you can support the channel down below. Hit the like, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. As of course, if you are new to watching the channel, links down below to help support the channel as well. Thank you very much. If you do that, helps out quite a lot. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.